about the same thing twice.
Yeah.
Because I'm different. I am offended
Yeah.
that Dylan's on the can for one reason. He's not representing trans women. He's not. He's a performance actor. He's in woman face. That's like you trying to tell me it's cool if someone painted their face black and was put them on the face of the can of Bud Light and tell me, well, he's representing black. No, it's not. I am offended. Women should be offended. Men should be offended. These are our mothers that are being made fun of. Like we're stupid. Women are stupid and dumb and bubbly. That's not a trans woman. That's not Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner lives her life as a woman and not at the expense of other women.
Yeah.
She just wants to privately be who she wants to be. And she has every right to do that. And I will drink a keg of beer with Caitlyn Jenner anytime, any place. But this is blackface and is wrong.
There you go.
Good darn point. Tyrus, for those of you who don't know, I had to look him up. I was wondering what that belt was over his shoulder. It's the funniest thing in the world. I say this with full respect and admiration for the athleticism and dedication of WWE wrestlers. I just think it's kind of funny that, you know, they offer a belt in what is scripted showmanship. But the skill and the talent and the dedication that goes into becoming and being and living as a professional wrestler, unbelievable. Everybody was joking when Ronda Rousey, retired from UFC. Oh, she's going into fake fighting in wrestling. People who say that don't appreciate what goes into it. Whether or not you're into the whole staged and orchestrated thing. Okay, setting all that aside, Tyrus makes a very good point. He might not be the first person to make the point, but he's making it, and he's making it as someone who's in the position. When he says offended, I don't think he means offended like boo-hoo. He means offended as in morally shocked, morally a moral affront. Let's just hear it again.
About the same thing twice.
Yeah.
Because I'm different.
While I open my black lemon tea, let's see what this tastes like. Oh boy.
I am offended.
Yeah.
That Dylan's on the can for one reason. He's not representing trans women. He's not. He's a performance actor.
And it's an interesting thing. He's a performance actor, as are WWE wrestlers, talented, skillful, ripped, athletic, but they are performance actors, and they are able to detect other performance actors. And it's something a lot of people have been saying for a while. Dylan Mulvaney is running a shtick all the way to the bank, and good for him. But who does he represent? Who is he representing? If he is representing women, women should be offended. As if women go hiking in heels. Women are ditzy idiots. Women shriek like little girls when they jump in cold water. Okay. Never mind.
He's in woman face. That's like you trying to tell me it's cool if someone painted their face black and was put them on the face of the can of Bud Light and tell me, well, he's representing black. No, it's not. I am offended. Women should be offended. Men should be offended. These are our mothers that are being made fun of. Like we're stupid. Women are stupid and dumb and bubbly. That's not a trans woman. That's not Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner lives her life as a woman and not at the expense of other women.
I like Tyrus. I know some people are those are minerals. Some people are going to take issue with the fact that he's referring to Caitlyn as a she, when some people are going to say, once a biological male, always a biological male. The middle ground there is you refer to people by their name. Dispute over. So some people might say, Tyrus, you're caving to their game by calling Caitlyn Jenner a her. Set that aside. The principle is and has always been the same: respecting the individual who makes an individual choice that affects no one but the individual, if that individual makes that decision in full awareness of fact and law. That has always been the discussion, and to the extent that that's the discussion, no one is telling so-called trans people what they can and cannot do with their own bodies. Where there becomes the issue is when the trans movement targets children who cannot consent to certain things by law. When the trans movement targets adults suffering from mental issues who, in the ordinary run of things, cannot consent to certain things. When I interviewed Tulip R. Ritchie, and he was a grown man when he went through the surgery. He was a grown man suffering from diagnosable mental illness, which would have, could have, and should have vitiated any consent that Ritchie could have given to having his penis surgically removed. So Caitlyn Jenner, a full-grown adult, maybe has always felt like this their entire life. Good for Caitlyn. Caitlyn can do what Caitlyn wants with Caitlyn's own body. But all the more so to the extent that Caitlin understands the biological differences between men and women and does not push what is, in fact, biological oppression on biological females, because people who decide that they were born men but now want to become women get to go dominate those biological women because of biological, I lost the word, biological, oh my goodness, I've lost the word. Chat, help me out. Because of biological, someone just said no sound. Because of biological advantages that they have because of birth. Tyrus is also making a very damn good point. Hold on, before I get too far in. Are we live on Rumble? We are live on Rumble, and the audio sounds good. And then we're going to get into yesterday's interview with Roger Stone. Tyrus also makes another good point. What the hell is the difference between blackface and what is being done now under the guise of transgenderism? When a white person, even if they think that they want to associate with the history of what it means to be black, if a white person darkens their tone, even if it's for Halloween to reenact their idol of a soccer player, it's blackface, it's racism, it's cancel worthy, it is get the social media mob on you. What in the name of God's green earth is different than a man who says, well, I want to dress up as a woman, even if it is to mock the woman and what that man thinks it means to be a woman? It's the modern day minstrel show. When they had, when white people used to dress up to mock the most regressive stereotypes of what they thought it meant to be black. And they did it. It was a moral outrage, not necessarily at the time, although I suspect at the time everybody knew it was laughter at somebody, not laughter with somebody. But it certainly historically is now viewed that way. Why is this any different? I'll predict the future. In the future, this will not be viewed as any different. They're going to look back at Dylan Mulvaney talking about girlhood as if being a girl means hiking in heels, screaming at bugs, acting like a bumbling idiot in everything that you do. Well, that's what it means to be a girl. According to misogynists, oh my goodness. I know what the problem is. Okay, hold on. We're not live on Locals. Hold on. You know why we're not live on Locals? Because I'm an idiot. Okay, Locals, it's coming up. Sorry, we're going to have missed the intro rant. We're going to come up. We're going to come up with the good stuff. Hold on. I got to edit, and I've got to add the RTPM thingy thing. Edit. Add. Custom here. Custom here. At least I can correct this quickly and add RTPM. Here we go. And okay, people, it should be coming up live on Locals in 2 seconds. Thank you for the chat, everybody. It's coming. We're going to look back at transgenderism as a movement and look at it in the exact same way we now look at minstrel shows of a century ago. In the exact same way we look at blackface today. That's one prediction. This is I can cheat with the predictions and make two which are not diametrically opposed, but which are alternative. That'll either happen, or trans racism is going to be the next thing. If you identify as black, if you identify as Asian, instead of it being a diagnosable mental disorder, as it has been, for decades in the DSM-5, we call it gender dysphoria, racial dysphoria. Call it racial dysphoria. I'm a short Semitic, Hebrew boy who identifies as Asian. So now, if I'm 12 years old and I say I identify as Asian, mom and dad, you better go start giving me surgery. There is no difference. There is no difference. Conceptually, legally, ideologically, medically, there is no difference. We're going to get there. And we're also going to get to the point where in the future, they're going to look back at gender-affirming care in the exact same way we look back at lobotomies of 50 years ago. That will happen. And we're going to look back on it in the exact same way because we're going to understand what they've discovered in England with that. I forget what that transgender hospital was in England. That who are they largely targeting and largely exploiting? Autistic children, victims of sexual abuse. Instead of treating them for their underlying mental issues, mental illnesses, and I say that with respect, love, and compassion, and not in the slightest bit of mockery, instead of treating them for their underlying mental illnesses, instead of treating them for their underlying trauma, mutilate their bodies. People should look back at lobotomies and the whole lobotomy movement, and the guy who devised lobotomies won a Nobel Peace Prize, if I'm not mistaken, in the late 40s. Tavistock, thank you. We will look back on it that way because it doesn't make sense. It can't make sense. And the fact that it has become the latest destabilizing contagion, social contagion of the day does not mean it makes sense. And life can only be lived forwards, but it can only be understood backwards. Damn it, I screwed that expression up. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. Kierkegaard. Okay, now I've screwed up a couple of things in this intro here. One of which was the link to Rumble is now in the pinned comment in YouTube. We look like we're good at in locals, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. I have not finished the full intro rant. It's a long one, but I'm going to pause it right now to get a couple of things here, some of which happen to be these wonderful things known as super chats, Rumble rants, which I'm going to get to. But let me star them and get back to them in a second, so that I can do this. Corn Pop in the house. Hello, sir. Hello, Corn Pop. We've got a good show today. Really big show. Really big show. Here we go. Okay, now let's do this. These things called super chats, like this one right here. Cheryl Gage, GoPro contest. Can you show us what you're going to submit? I cannot show you what I'm going to submit, Cheryl, because I think that might technically, if someone wanted to get smart and say, oh, well, you published the video before we could, so we're not going to choose it. The videos involve tarpon. They involve kids being, giddy, happy kids on the beach. Iguanas. There was some Las Vegas. But if I don't win, and after the competition, one way or the other, I'm going to make a beautiful Viva family montage of all of my submissions with some good music. What the heck? What are you doing, camera? That was weird. I'm going to do a good montage afterwards. Thank you very much, Cheryl Gage. Bumper sticker from Corn Pop. Booyah. Thank you very much. We should see all media funding, sources of funding. Absolutely. I'm going to keep that one started. We'll get back to it in a second. And Heart Tackle. American-made tackle. And it's good. Hey, Viva, keep up all the good work and keep fishing. I will. Heart Tackle, the next thing I need is a net because I hooked a snakehead that was too big to haul out of the... Well, it wasn't too big, but it was so big I couldn't handle it with my own hands. Super chats, YouTube takes 30% of all of those. If you don't like that, we are simultaneously streaming on Rumble. They have these things called Rumble Rants, the exact same concept, except Rumble typically only takes 20%, except for the rest of 2023, they are taking 0%. So all of the support goes to the creator for the rest of 2023. It will pay dividends for the stock of Rumble. No pun intended. I do not own any stock in Rumble. Full disclosure. No medical advice, no legal advice, no election fortification advice. And what else? We are simultaneously streaming on vivabarneslaw.locals.com, where we will go after we end on YouTube and go exclusively to Rumble. We end on Rumble and then have an after party on Locals where I get to the tips in Rumble, in Locals, and talk to the chat there. But let me make sure that I did it today. Got to go to details, and I did save this. Good. You may have noticed that when you came into the stream, it said, this stream contains a paid promotion. Because it does. Field of Greens, people. Fieldofgreens.com. Where is it? Where's my box? Someone cleaned up the office, and now I don't have my box. I don't have it. Anyways, it's typically on my desk. Field of Greens. It's a little known fact. Everybody should know this. You're supposed to have 5 to 7 servings of raw fruits and vegetables every day. Whether you're a spoiled little kid who doesn't want to do it, or an adult who is just too lazy, and it's just easier to go gobble down a beautiful, deep-fried, crispy, Chick-fil-A. You're supposed to have 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. Most people do not have this. Field of Greens is not a supplement. It is not an extract. It is actual desiccated greens and fruits and vegetables. Desiccated, dried, pulverized. It's a food. Hence, it's USDA organic approved. 1 spoonful contains 1 serving of fruits and vegetables with all of the antioxidant power, yada, 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 the good stuff. So instead of a bad habit of sucking down a Red Bull in the afternoon, which I might still do this afternoon, it's a good alternative. It's a healthy alternative to get your fruits and vegetables, your antioxidants, your minerals, nutrients. Made in America. It is USDA organic. It's good. It tastes good. It looks like swamp water, but there's a reason why swamp water is full of nutrients, as is the Field of Greens water. And they have a new thing for losing weight, lean weight loss. If you're into that, I'm sure it's good. I have an underlying theory: good habits and exercise. Calories in, calories out is basically the underlying principle of all weight loss. But I am not a dietitian. I just know it has worked for me. Exercise and eat reasonably. But they have a good weight loss thingy thing there. Lean weight loss, fieldofgreens.com. Promo code VIVA for 15% off your order. Okay, not done. I'm not done with the rant. I'm not done with the intro rant yet. It will go down as the equivalent of blackface. Woman face does not. There was another face that I would say woman face does not have the negative connotation as blackface, but that might just be because of the history to it, and it has not yet been socially demonized as blackfacing has. Can come up with other funny names as to how to make it sound bad. It's going to be viewed that way. Or the next stage of this moving, anchorless, principleless, drifting boat of progressiveness is going to be recognizing transracialism. In which case, Justin Trudeau is going to get to say, look, I was inclusive and tolerant before it was cool. I was doing transracialism back when it was still unpopular. And I had to take a lot of heat because I got caught doing transracialism when I was just so in love with another race that I decided to go out and dress up like it to make fun of it. Oh, so that's it. We're not done yet. Progressives equal Marxists. Now that I understand a bit more of what people mean when they talk about cultural Marxism, I understand it. Now that I've refreshed my memory. I have a minor in Eastern European history. Yeah, it's the same type of social cultural revolution. It's the same type of destruction of positions of power. It's the same type of concealing the flaws and the doomed nature of the ideology. Because if it doesn't work properly, it's because it wasn't done properly, because the ideology is good. The leader is good. The leader is great. We surrender our will as of the state. That's what it is. The leader is good. The leader is great. And so if the leader does something bad, we either have to make that bad thing into a good thing, or we need to find a new leader because party is right. It's true Marxism indoctrination. It's true. Marxism indoctrination destroys society. That's the purpose of Marxism, as I understand it now. A day without Viva idiocy is like a day without sunshine. Master Malrubius, thank you. This is unsweetened, carbonated, sparkling black lemon tea with 50 milligrams of caffeine, and it's not bad. But did you see the CCP police station, LL? We are done. We talked about it. That's not on the menu for today, but we'll talk about it Sunday, because we already talked about that somewhat. But now confirmation: secret Chinese police stations, which we already knew. They're here to survey, torment, and terrorize the Chinese population who have moved from communist China to the West, where they are still nonetheless surveyed, extorted, blackmailed, pressured for political purposes. Okay, so that was Tyrus. Now, Tyrus also, I did not know this, is also in the unique position to have that position that he does, because Murdoch is biracial. His father is black and his mother is white. So he can make his claims on both ends. He's half black and he's got a woman as a mother. So he can now say this is offensive on both sides of it. You slap Justin Trudeau up there in his Persian face or in his black face, and you say, "Well, I'm just showing respect for the." No, you're not showing respect. You're actually showing disrespect by exaggerating these stereotypes. Hence, that's what it was, which is exactly what Dylan Mulvaney is doing. But it all segues perfectly into biology. This is, no, hold on. We'll go with Riley Gaines posting Leah Thomas's video of the day. Let's listen to this. This is Riley Gaines. You will all remember Riley Gaines, a woman physically assaulted by a man at an event where she was speaking, University of San Francisco State College. Yeah, it was SFSC, San Francisco State College, where she was speaking against the idea of allowing males, biological males, born males, with all of the biological advantages that goes along, biological, physiological, competitive advantages that go along with being a male. There are some disadvantages. I think males have smaller brains, but hardy har. The biological advantages that go along with biological males competing in biological female sports. She's giving a talk. She gets physically assaulted by a male, falsely imprisoned for 3 hours in a classroom by the mob, who jokes about letting her out if she pays a ransom. And people who have since deleted their Twitter accounts praised the wonderful students who peacefully protested. Praise them. Anyhow, so Riley Gaines puts this out today, and it's an edited video, so I don't know what the full original one looks like, of Leah Thomas. There's no biological advantage to being a male and having gone through puberty. Bone density, arm span, muscle mass, none whatsoever. There's so not a biological advantage that when biological males who, purport to be transitioning want to get into biological female sports, they have to make sure that their biological advantages are not past a certain threshold. There's no difference. Trans women are women, but we need to make sure that their male hormones are not too high. And if they are, we got to give them some chemicals to change that, to make them the same. Listen to this.
My name is Leah Thomas. I'm a transgender woman, a former college swimmer, and the first trans athlete to be named Division I NCAA champion. I started swimming when I was
the first trans athlete to be named NCAA
champion. I Division I NCAA champion. I started swimming when I was 5 years old, and it has taught me so much. It has given me so many opportunities to learn, grow, develop, and connect with my peers.
Opportunities that I now want to take away from women, because having a biological male compete with women will, and has, take away that position. So I have had such a good experience with what competitive sports have taught me, because when I was 5 years old, I was still a male. I had such a wonderful experience. It taught me so much. I now want to deprive that of what was specifically protected for biological women. How thoughtful of you. How selfless, Leah.
Opportunities that I wouldn't have gotten if I didn't have access to athletics.
Opportunities that I now want to deny from women because I'm demanding access to their sports.
That's why it breaks my heart to see trans kids across the country lose out on these opportunities.
No trans kid, if such a thing can exist, are being denied. Nobody's losing opportunities anywhere, at any point, period, full stop. Having your opportunities not even limited, but segregated based on biological differences is not having them, what did you say, limited, denied? What was the word?
Lose out on these opportunities. Across the country, lose out on these opportunities.
They're losing out on nothing except for the unfair advantage of competing in a category in which they would have an unfair advantage. Trans kids are losing out on nothing. They just have to compete in specific categories. What a bizarre definition of losing out on something. I'm losing out on something. I have access to something, but not what I demand access to. Therefore, I'm losing out on what I demand access to, even though I have no right, biological, legal, or otherwise, to what I'm demanding access to, like a child.
The Department of Education has proposed a new rule for Title IX regarding transgender athletes. This rule would prohibit blanket bans on transgender kids, especially in grades K through 8. However, it would not prohibit discrimination against trans kids in the high school and college levels under the guise of competitive fairness. This
interesting. So from what I understand, until puberty typically settles in, there will be a ban, but not after puberty kicks in, if I've understood it correctly. Maybe I haven't.
This rule is a good start. However, it is not enough. During this time of intense anti-trans backlash, the trans community needs explicit protections from discrimination in order to live our lives freely and equally.
You already have those. They're called human rights. What you don't have is the right to procure unfair biological advantages in sports that were created, divisioned off for the purposes of acknowledging biological. I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know all of this already in here, and the trans athletes belong in sports. Nobody is banning trans kids from sports, trans people from sports. I say trans kids in quotes because I tend to agree with Billboard Chris that there's no such thing as a trans kid. There are kids with all sorts of different preferences, predilections, desires, physiologies, and it goes on, but not for much longer.
Luckily, this rule is not final. We have a 30-day period to urge the Biden administration to amend the rule and grant equal protection for all transgender kids.
Equal protection for all transgender kids they already benefit from. You know who else deserves protection, and it was the reason for Title IX? Women. That's why it was created. Under the guise of competitive fairness, are you really trying to say that you would have won a national title against the men? Does it not break your heart to see women lose out on these opportunities? The Biden administration proposed bill denies science, truth, and common sense. And speaking of Marxism, that is I won't say it's the defining element. It's probably, one of the common elements of all totalitarian regimes, denying the obvious, denying what is in front of your face. 2 + 2 = 5. It's the famous torture scene of Winston in 1984. Some people hypothesize that what took down communism. Hold on one second. What took down communism was Chernobyl, where people were literally dying of radiation poisoning, and the government is saying, it's not what you think. Just deny common sense reality. And not just that, but deny the legislative history of the very laws that you're seeking to amend now. Why was Title IX created in the first place? Just answer that question. Why was Title IX created in the first place? And once you answer that question, how do you reconcile trying to deny the very existence of the raison d'etre of Title IX in the first place? Was there something more? There was something more there. Oh, lordy. Hold on, let me see something here. I saw some super chats here. Winning reality, so cool you love Chick-fil-A, Viva. Your indoctrination into Southern culture is on schedule. Hit TL on the flats. Yet, for tacos, I have Jan Irvin of Trivium Education on Wednesday. You'll dig that. Everybody, Winning Reality. Not an I don't know. Winning Reality seems like a good person and has good content, and I feel not bad at all. Winning Reality, check them out. Well, Chick-fil-A is delicious. I wouldn't mind if they had some more beef products, but it's delicious. I also like the fact that they don't open on Sunday. It's an amazing thing, by the way. So, moving down here, albeit temporarily, maybe from Canada, I'm old enough to remember when I was young, stores would close on Sunday in Quebec because of religious reasons. In Florida, look, it's not anywhere near as religious as Quebec was back in the 80s when I was growing up. But it's kind of cool. It's kind of close. Stuff closes on Sunday. And it brings back good memories of childhood. I mean, it was frustrating when you were a kid and you wanted to do things and things were closed and you're like, what the hell? But Chick-fil-A is delicious. The service is impeccable. And I'm not sure that it's any healthier. It feels healthier. It feels healthier than McDonald's. I don't like McDonald's. Transgender and kid shouldn't be in the same sentence. Daddy Crab. Thank you very much for the super chat. I agree. Calling a kid a trans kid is calling a kid anything that defines the kid based on what might be a temporary whim for the rest of their lives. What do you walk around? You walk around labeling kids? What's wrong with people? Leave the kids alone. Leave Brittany and the kids alone. And then on the subject, by the way, just rocket science news today, but it's not the victory that people are going to, it's not the victory of logic and science that some people are going to think it is. Transgender female basketball player ruled ineligible to compete in women's basketball league. What they mean to say is biological male or a male basketball player ruled ineligible to compete in women's sports. You change words and you can create injustice out of what would otherwise be a biological absurdity. We've created a term called transgender female, which refers to a biological man who feels like he's a woman. Nothing wrong with it. Knock yourself out, whatever makes you feel good. But now just replace the title. Male basketball player ruled ineligible to compete in women's basketball sport. No shit, Sherlock. Oh, Basketball Australia made the determination about Rogers' availability for the WNBL1 South. You know, transgender female basketball player, changing the meaning of words, Marxism. I'll just make things mean no longer the same things that they ever meant. Was barred from competing against biological females in yada yada in Australia. The governing body of the sports ruled that Lexi Rogers is ineligible to compete in elite or sub-elite basketball, including for the Cobras. Cobras, okay, serves as a lower tier league, yada, yada, yada. Nobody cares about this. Firstly, on behalf of Basketball Australia, I'd like to acknowledge and sincerely thank Lexi for her cooperation, understanding, and patience throughout this process in a complex space that continues to evolve. At some point, evolution is not evolution, it's devolution. While Lexi is understandably disappointed, I know she'll continue to support the team and yada, yada, yada. Okay. As we continue to develop a framework for sub-elite and elite competitions, we understand the need to have a clear process and continual education within all layers of the sport so we can best support players. Here's the clear determination. XX or XY, not complicated. Yada, yada, yada. Rogers said she was disappointed with the determination in a statement posted on Instagram. Whatever. So yeah, today, at least on this case-by-case basis, science has prevailed. And science to some is an injustice to others. All right, people, let's mosey on over to Rumbletown. Copy. Oh, no, before I get to Rumbletown, yesterday, speaking of, Rogers, was the Lexi Rogers. Roger Stone. I did an amazing interview with Roger Stone yesterday. I say that with absolute humility and humbleness because it wasn't me that was amazing in that interview. It was Roger Stone. And we had an audio problem, which I thought was a technical glitch to Rumble, like as in it sent to more affect Rumble, and I thought we had resolved, and we didn't resolve the audio glitch. The good news is that the interview is not lost, but if the bad news remains, the interview is not lost, but it's very not difficult. It will require a little effort and patience to listen to because there's what I call a hiccup or like a doubling of speech for whatever the reason. I don't know what the technical problem was. So the interview has not been lost to the interwebs, or it has not been lost to the ether of the universe. But we're trying to repair it before I go back and publish it on Rumble. It was an amazing interview. Roger Stone is a walking political encyclopedia. Some people might consider that a curse, but it was an amazing interview. Roger Stone is, his political insight has proven to be accurate, and it is insightful. So I'm going to publish it one way or the other back to Rumble. I'm just going to see if I can't correct them. The folks at Locals are trying to correct the audio glitch to see if it's going to be, if what I can post would be better than what we have right now, which was still on Locals. It's frustrating. And it's ultimately the most frustrating for me. But then you have to think that there's other people who are going to be equally frustrated and, feel bad about the glitch. Mistakes happen. And then the main issue is just making sure that the same mistake doesn't happen more than once, because then you're not learning from your mistakes if you're repeating them. But by the way, all that to say, stay tuned because it's going to come one way or the other to Rumble. It's just going to be a question of whether or not it has the hiccup and the glitch, or whether or not it's sort of a corrected, a repaired audio version. And go check out Roger Stone. He's got a Rumble channel. It's called the Stone Zone, if I'm not mistaken, stonezone.live. And I have now realized the people that I have been raised and indoctrinated to think are the enemy, the more I get to know them personally, because I've gotten to know a lot of these people personally now, the more I'm inclined to think that they were never actually the villains that they were portrayed to be. So that's it. So it was a hiccup glitch thingy thing with the audio, annoying as hell. Can I ask if he knows Jerry Rowe? Knew him. I'll try to remember, but I'm not going to text him that just to see, but maybe I will. Okay, people, go over to the Rumbles and we're going to end it on YouTube. There are 1,325 people over here. We need to, we need to create the markets. We need to create the demand, and we need to create the pressure and the parallel market. I know some people, if you have any criticism about Rumble, by the way, go to Twitter and post your critiques, your recommendations. They are very, very responsive, and they're very open to improving their product because they want to. But we all at some point also have to make that decision to go and support the platforms that actually support true freedom of speech. Now, did I get this? I'm Not Your Buddy Guy. Have you watched The Kingsman Secret Service yet? No, but I think I've seen the scene where he goes into the church and kills all those people. Is that the movie? I'm Not Your Buddy Guy. Somebody burnt the Golden, BC courthouse to the ground about 6 weeks ago. Radio silence. What do I know about this? Absolutely nothing. What will I know by this afternoon? More, because I'm going to go look that up. All right. Ending on the Rumbles, people. Ending on YouTube. Going over to Rumble. And then finishing on... We got a lot. On Rumble, what are we going to do? CBC. Goodbye, CBC. Hashtag it was trending. Elon Musk and some miscellaneous. So come on over to Rumble, people. Ending on YouTube. Good. We've dropped 200 people on YouTube already. But it will all come. Rumble on, people. See you there now.